Hi, welcome to the Murder Mavens Book Club podcast. Today we're going to do something a little different. Joan and I are here with a local author who has published a very, I just moved, that doesn't matter. Public, who, you didn't publish the book, you wrote the book, who wrote a book, How to Talk to Your Dog About Murder. And I'm just going to hold it up, even though we're not actually going to show this video to anyone, but just in case, I wanted to talk about this. I saw the book when I was in Left Bank Books. And the title, of course, grabbed me. If you have pets, it means a lot to you. Joan actually had a dog that was very, very special to her. We like the Chet mysteries, and so I was
Bernie
like,
and
okay.
Chet, yeah.
And then the idea was a local author, and it said, when I read the back, it said it took place in St. Louis. Grabbed me all right away. Dogs, St. Louis, home. It was going to be perfect. So I haven't even finished the book yet. Joan has not read the book yet, but I reached out to Emily, is it Soderberg?
Yes, it is.
Emily Soderberg, to see if she'd talk to us today about what it's like to write a mystery. I just thought we all read them, we all love them. So my first question, Emily, is how did you decide to write a mystery? According to the back here, you have a degree in German and religious studies. I don't think that automatically takes you to being a novelist.
No. Writing was always a fun extra thing, and I've always loved mysteries. So I the famous story is that in second grade I wrote a pretty terrible knockoff of a Boxcar Children mystery. That was my entry into the genre and the I guess the hobby at this point. But yeah, I always loved writing kind of on the side, and I love reading mysteries. I love reading mysteries. So it was a no-brainer that that was the direction I was going to go.
Well, when I went to your Facebook page, stalking you to find you, to invite you to come do
Yes.
this, you had a picture of your stack of Agatha Christie books. And that one I just had to laugh and could relate to.
There are so many. There are so many that I don't have yet.
Well, we have someone in book club who's actually, I'm sorry, Barb.
Go ahead.
We have someone in book club who's actually going through all of them. And I guess in
Wow.
order, Karen. And it's interesting to hear what her final analysis is.
Yeah, we're going to be
Absolutely.
interviewing her later to find out when she finishes all of them, which she told me, well, we're not done yet, but it's sometime soon. So,
well,
okay,
that photo you're referring
to, Boxcar Children. What other authors do you love?
Absolutely. I haven't read a Boxcar Children book since elementary school, but those were formative. Love Agatha Christie. I love Dorothy Sayers. Love Rex Stout. Yeah, those are ones where
Raymond Chandler.
Yeah, I am less hard-boiled than that, but I do enjoy them.
Okay, good.
I like Nero Wolfe is my favorite, which is interesting because that's much more hard-boiled than I normally tend to veer. That's the very far edge of what I enjoy in terms of you know, getting the homicide detective down, chomping on his cigar.
Yeah. Kramer. Yep.
Well, and I think that's part of the fun of being in a mystery book club, is that we challenge each other to read different books. So like you said, you have not listened to our episode yet about The Glass Key. You'll find in it that a lot of us didn't like the book, but Joan loved it.
I Raymond Chandler and Rex Stout, put them on a scale. Oddly enough, they weigh the same, despite the seventh of a ton. Yes, I prefer the more hard-boiled Dashiell Hammett. So yeah, but I'm glad that you like Rex Stout. That makes me excited.
Oh, 100%. For me, it's the voice. Like Archie Goodwin has such a strong voice. If you haven't read Nero Wolfe books, Archie Goodwin is the sidekick and he's the point of view character. And at no point does he make a neutral observation about anything. It's all filtered through his brain and his lens. and I love it. It's in the same vein as Hastings, but he's way more competent than Hastings is. It's that kind of it's the voice that I love so much.
Who do you think is really the focal point of the books? About to say Hastings, Nero Wolfe or Archie? Who are the books really
Yeah,
about?
I think it's about sitting and listening to Archie tell you a story about Nero.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same way that like any of the classic Sherlock Holmes stories,
Mm-hmm.
it's Watson telling his impression of dealing with Sherlock Holmes. It's that
Right.
same story. So like Archie Goodwin is kind of in awe of Nero Wolfe. So you never get inside his head. He's just this, and when I say in awe of, that's tempered by frustration and quitting every book and
Yep.
Well, so we recently read The Red
The door.
House by
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, The Red
A.
House.
Milne? E. Milne.
A.A. Milne.
A.
Milne.
Milne. Yeah. Have you read that?
I have read it. I remember no details about it. So don't worry about spoiling it. I won't be able to contribute.
Well, no, it was just there was a character, the main character in it. He even says to his sidekick character, he goes, "Okay, we're going to play Sherlock Holmes here, and you're going to be my sidekick so I can talk to you about it." And it really opened my eyes to mysteries. You almost need to have that sidekick to talk through ideas. Which let's go back to your book. Now, I don't want to be that specific about your book, but yeah, your book, you don't really have a sidekick.
No. So mine is much more in the vein of kind of modern American cozies where it is in first person. But um, I do my best to create some kind of distance where you don't necessarily realize everything the instant the point of view character Nikki does. So I'm trying to create a little bit of extra space there because I love Archie Goodwin and I love Captain Hastings and I understand the benefit of that character.
So let's go back to the process of writing.
Mhm.
So when you decided that you wanted to write mysteries, is this your first mystery you've written that, or you've even tried to get published?
It's not, no. It's the first one I've succeeded at getting published.
Okay.
But
Okay. Well,
yeah,
congratulations. Like I said, I've been enjoying it so far.
thank you.
Um, and what do you think was the trick to getting this one published?
Well, for those of you who don't know, the story is the main character, Nikki, is a pet behavior consultant. So she is called in when this family is worried about their dog. Their dog is grieving the former owner and they're they want to have dog therapy, basically. So they call her in. So I think it fits really cleanly in the kind of pet-based cozy mystery space. I haven't seen one with a pet behavior consultant before, so it's that. The title, I think, is actually, this is probably bad to say, but the title is kind of on trend right now. There were a ton of books that came out all about the same time where the title was in the second person. So there's Seven Reasons to Murder Your Dinner Guests, and then there are, I can't remember, but they all came out at the same time. So I feel like that helped. Titles often change in the process of publication, but this was my title from the beginning. And then I think there's a real desire in publishing to find more contemporary feeling cozies. I feel like within the cozy mystery space, there are a lot that it's not that they're not contemporary, but they're relatively timeless. They could be set anytime between now and say the late 70s. It's my characters text each other and Nikki has about 11 gigs that she uses to put food on the table. So I think that's a need that publishers were looking for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and I feel it's, go ahead, Joan.
I just wondered who published you?
Crooked Lane,
Okay.
Which is distributed, it said, through Penguin.
Penguin
Oh,
Random House, yes.
nice.
Yeah.
That's respectable. I'm sorry, I was in publishing, so I get kind of
Okay.
snobby about this.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's not an imprint of Penguin Random House. It's distributed through Penguin Random House. And I don't fully understand the difference, but there you go.
But you would think Penguin Random House must respect
Yeah.
Crooked Lane if they're going to
Yes,
distribute their books.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so for the process, you came up with the idea you were going to write about a dog,
Hmm.
and you were going to have Nikki as the dog walker.
Yep.
Do you write like with a writing group, or is this all that you do on your own?
It's very solitary, yes. I've heard
Okay.
all of the advice on the internet about finding groups and bouncing ideas off people, and I kind of just huddle in my own little space. And every once in a while, I'll call my sister and brainstorm with her, and that's very helpful. But yeah, no, don't write with anybody else. And for me, I'd say it's a matter of the story is plotting the investigation. So the actual crime itself is backstory. That's the thing that's either happened or it happens very early. And for me, plotting the story beats, which in other fiction would be, girl falls in love, fight, that kind of story beat. And here it's information reveals. So it's plotting kind of when information will be revealed and what that does and how that drives the plot. So that's pretty much the process I've used for plotting mysteries that I hope make some kind of sense.
So, do you know who the murderer is when you start? Like you know the answer?
Yes. However, I will say that a very useful thing is making sure that everybody's plausible. So I have changed my mind in the past.
Okay. Okay. I like that. Well, listen, we always laugh in the book club podcast that we relate things a lot to Jessica Fletcher and Murder
Mhm.
She Wrote. And that's one of the things she often says is that she doesn't know who the murderer is when she starts. I'm thinking, how can you not know who but she says she's always talking about the character development, that it's so character
Mm.
driven that you kind of have to grow with the characters as you're writing it. And I was just
And
wondering,
I think,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think also it has to be organic. You have to be true to the story, not force characters to do things. Yes, you are their creator, but you've created for, as silly as it sounds, real people who do real things, and you have to be true to them. And if it turns out that person X is not the murderer, you got to write it that way. No matter what you plotted out on the storyboard beginning, no,
Yeah.
this ain't working.
Well,
And
and
it's going to sound corny, but I 100% have had times where I've been stuck on a particular plot point or something, and the solution is to get two or three characters in a room together and talk to each other because they start insulting each other real fast and it drives the story in a different direction. And I'm not saying that scene is one that I would end up using, but it would give me information and maybe send the story in a direction I wouldn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, real people do talk differently than a lot of times in fiction. So a lot of times in fiction, you get conversations where people fail to explain the main thrust of the conversation, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, I'll tell you later, there's no time now.
uh-huh.
And and if you write a version where they actually behave like people and say, okay, the reason I was acting so angry is that, then you can get to more interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's yeah, part of the creative process is sometimes you have to walk the people along and not leave them behind. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I had a question, I've lost it. Oh, do you plan on using these characters and do a series? I
So
just she was been crossing her fingers for those of you who couldn't see.
I read the
Well,
first paragraph. I'm sorry, but I know I should be listening, but I was reading the first paragraph and I'm hooked on the first paragraph. So
thank you.
why are
That
you
means a
talking to
lot.
us? You should be at your desk typing the next one.
I know Barb was really insistent. I should be working right now. No, unfortunately, I mean, publishing's a business. So I would love to write a sequel. I do not have a deal for a second book yet. It all depends on this one selling enough that it's interesting for my publisher. I have submitted a proposal for a sequel, and I'm just kind of waiting for the numbers to shake out and see if they're going to go for it or not.
And this came out when?
October.
Okay, and
So October of 2025.
and we
we're
are now in
currently
February of 2026. So
We're in March, Barb.
I'm sorry.
very beginning
Okay,
of
March
but yeah.
2nd.
So April will be 6 months, and that's when, according to my agent, we should start to hear some kind of statistics or
Oh,
numbers
so you
or
haven't even
sales
heard
results.
numbers or anything yet. Oh, that
No.
must be hard.
I cope by choosing not to think about it.
And then here we are asking.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. I just work on the next thing and see what happens.
There, Joan, did you have any kind of questions for her?
I do, and it may sound sexist or dated
I
or
welcome it.
what. Many famous women writers of mysteries have as their protagonist a man. Sounds like yours is a woman.
It is, yes.
What drove that decision?
So I feel like historically women writing professional non-police detectives are writing men. But within the amateur detective space, I really do think the numbers are different than that. I think it's women writing women. At least outside of the thriller genre. It's such a large genre, crime and mystery and thrillers. I feel more confident. Yes, so many subgenres. But yeah, I'm more familiar with women.
There you go. Good answer.
There are plenty of male characters who, we get to see their actions and hear their words, but in terms of a character that I felt confident I could consistently provide a cohesive and believable view of her thoughts for 80,000 words, it was no question it was going to be a woman.
So I know when we read Louise Penny, we did some research on that Maisie Dobbs. No, not Louise Penny. When we read, who wrote Maisie?
Jacqueline Winspear.
Yeah, when we read Jacqueline Winspear. And she said she had an aha moment. She was pumping gas at a gas station. All of a sudden, the character came to her. And by the time she got to work, she had the whole story in her head. And did you have that kind of aha moment of I am going to have a dog walker? Or how did that character come to you?
I don't know. It certainly wasn't a singular aha moment. It was a lot of, writing down one tiny kernel of an idea. And at this point, I don't know that I could tell you what the specific one was for this novel, but writing down one kernel of an idea, probably in a notes app on my phones one day, and then later spending a couple of hours kind of spiraling outwards from that to see if I could come up with, well, okay, so if there's a pet behavioralist, that's cool. Who would her clients be? And because this particular story hinges on her clients. And, that's the idea that, like, in a sequel, maybe she will have different clients, but this one is about that. So the idea of having a nugget of an idea and then kind of complicating it and say, well, what does that imply about this world? And what can I add to it to flesh it out? And well, what would happen if she decided she needed to solve a murder, for example? How would that play out?
And have you worked as a pet behavioralist or even a dog walker yourself?
Not at all.
Because I noticed you have
I'm
cats. And so,
I have cats.
Yeah.
Many cats. No, I have 2 cats. I'm a cat person.
How do your cats feel about this? That your protagonist
I've been trying to hide it from them.
Don't look.
Yeah, so the book contains a lot of dog characters and a lot of cat characters.
Okay.
And some of them are the animals are much more likely to be based on creatures that I've known in real life. The people are created, but the animals are based on actual dogs and cats that I've known.
So I just find it interesting. I don't think I would have ever come up with the idea of, hey, let's have a dog walker. But you're right in that they're going into people's homes, they're going into people's lives, and you have the disparity like of income and things like that, that it goes back to classic rom-coms, that
Mhm.
the rich man marrying the poor woman or whatever, that there's that disparity there. I mean, and usually the dog walker, you're going to have a disparity there.
Mhm.
That's I just think it's brilliant. I wish I
Thank
thought of
you.
it. Could I steal the idea?
And the more than just a dog walker, the pet behavioralist thing means she's encountering these families at a moment of crisis because something in their lives has gotten bad enough
Mhm.
that they're calling in for outside help. And it might be just that the dog, is no longer housebroken or something, but it might be that the dog is no longer housebroken because they're going through this other crisis. And in this case, it was a death in the family. So it gets her into a house at a sensitive moment for them where lots of things are being churned up and it's ripe for murder.
Well, it's interesting. There's an episode of a very famous sitcom, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, so I won't, where the family dog is exhibiting really strange behavior, very morose, um, lethargic, so unhappy. And the owner of the dog brings in a pet psychiatrist. The owner's the dog owner's sons are psychiatrists, so you can figure out which show I'm talking about.
It's
And
Frasier.
yes, and you said it. And the psychiatrist, the pet psychiatrist, gives a series of questions and asks how the people in the household would answer those questions as Eddie, the dog. And Martin and Daphne are very serious in their answers, and Frasier and Niles are just, they're Frasier and Niles. You can tell what that means. And at the end of it, the pet psychiatrist said, this wasn't about Eddie. This was about the people in the household and how they affected him.
And that is something that Emily talks about in this book too.
Oh, okay.
That she says a lot of time it's not necessarily the problem with the dog, it's because of the people around the dog and
Right.
the problems that happen. Like I said, it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant.
When I was training when I was having Duffy trained, the trainer eventually said to me, it's not him, it's you. I'm not training him. I'm trying to train you. It's like, yeah, I could see that too. He was very
Yeah.
well behaved with the trainer, but with me, it was, just a crapshoot. But I was going to say something really brilliant, and now I forgot. Oh well, moving right along. Oh yeah, no, this was it. So what happened was on Frasier, um, he had lost his favorite doll, and he couldn't find it. And once he found his favorite doll, he was fine. So there is healing available to dogs, and I suppose cats too.
Or
Yeah,
horses, like the horse whisperer. But yeah.
and the horse whisperer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, after you sold the book,
Mhm.
you sent it off. They, how long did it take before they said, yeah, we're interested in this book?
Publishing is so slow. So after I wrote the book, I spent about a year trying to get an agent. I signed with my agent in October of 2022 on this book. Like, this is the book that got me the agent. She and I went through a round of edits and then she started submitting it to publishers.
So she edited with you. Is that
She
normal?
did a round of edits. It's relatively normal.
Okay.
Some agents I hear will just only take things that they need to make no changes to. But she did a round of line edits and helped me with it. And then so she started trying to sell it to publishers for about a year. And then we kind of the phrase has died on submission. We kind of gave up on it. She spent a year trying to sell it, didn't sell, moved on to another book I'd written, started trying to sell that. And then in November or December of 2024 is when Crooked Lane, who is somebody she'd like checked off as no response, was like, actually, let's take a look at. So I did a couple of rounds of edits with them, and last summer, so the summer of 2025 was all kind of cover design and logistics about print design and everything. And then it came out in October of 2025.
So how painful was the editing process?
Yeah.
Oh, not painful. My agent and my editor, I love both of them, and they both had made it better. They had great suggestions, and yeah, no, totally fine. People say editing is awful. Editing is easier than writing.
Yes.
If you're interested in writing something, get whatever drivel down on the page, because once it exists, you can change it as much as you want to.
Yep.
But if it's in your head and you're just sitting there thinking about it, trying to make it perfect before you commit it to screen or paper, you're never going to do anything.
That's what like Joan's former life, one time she was an editor. My former life, I wrote for nonprofits, those PR marketing type writing.
Oh, yeah.
I always said, anyone who says writing is easy isn't a very good writer, because you need to, it almost needs to be painful as you go through it. But I also say you shouldn't be so tied to a word that you can't let someone else edit it, because they can see things you can't see. So I find that interesting. You're like, oh, it wasn't really that bad, because you understand that's part of the process, is having someone help you see it from another side. Very interesting.
They're coming to it fresh, whereas I've been bashing my head against it for 2 years. They're industry professionals who know what's expected of this type of work, what sells with this type of work. Yeah, no, 100%.
So how many books do you have written that you're trying to peddle, as easy as I can?
There's an older one from before this that's probably not ever going anywhere. There's one that my agent is currently trying to sell. And then there's one that I'm about halfway through that, if things don't work out with this, will be the next thing to sell.
So do you work one book at a time?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
Do you work on one book at a time, or do you have a couple that you're working on?
Oh, one at a time, with the exception of, so I've got a work in progress that is kind of ongoing while I did the proposal for the sequel to How to Talk to Your Dog About Murder.
Okay. So have you started How to Talk to Your Dog About Murder? I mean, the sequel? Is that the one that you have work in
progress?
The
proposal that I submitted was a synopsis and 3 chapters. So 3 chapters exist. My guess would be that if I were to sit down and be asked to write the entire thing, those 3 chapters would change quite a bit.
Well, yeah.
And I'm sorry, you've submitted to your to the publisher or to your agent? This
to my publisher. So I submitted to my agent, and she submitted to my publisher.
Okay. I'm looking at your page on Crooked Lane. It's very
nice.
Lovely picture of you.
Thank you.
I'm excited about talking to you. I'm excited that I'm hoping you'll join our book club. I'm excited because I would like to hear from you if you would give us a list of books, maybe, half a dozen books that you think we would like to read. If you do come to book club, get a feel for us, what you think we would like to read. I'm enjoying this. I wasn't so sure about doing this tonight. I am having a ball.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
That's Joan. It's because I'm here.
Well, yes. Emily, get off the stage. Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask, I don't know how long you want to talk to us, because you probably do want to get back to your writing, but how did you choose? Well, I mean, St. Louis, but one of the reasons I'm loving it is seeing the St. Louis locations. And today, when she was at coffee at Clayton and Lindbergh at Starbucks, I'm like, oh my God, that's my neighborhood.
100%.
She said she had to go to a different location. I mean, they suggested that one. And I want to know, in your head, what coffee shop was it that you thought that they went to?
When I wrote that, I had a map of Starbucks in the area pulled up, but I no longer remember. I made sure there was one there. No, 100%. So I love reading books that are set in places like New York and San Francisco because the author will just name drop streets that are not plot relevant in any way. And even if I'm fully unfamiliar with the city, it creates this sense of it being grounded in reality, and it reinforces the idea that there is a world going on outside the events of the book that make the whole thing feel more kind of wrapped in reality. And I have less patience for books that are set in kind of nebulous, made up small town that
Center
has
City, USA.
Springfield.
Center City, USA, or more likely um, a tiny, tiny hamlet that has three plot relevant specialty shops and no hint that they would have the population to support that.
Yeah.
And so I definitely wanted to do a real place. And St. Louis, I think, is fabulous in the sense that it's a big city. So it's got lots of opportunities for, sequels could go in a different direction. But individual neighborhoods might approach that kind of small town feel that you are looking for in a cozy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Nikki in the book goes to a couple, besides the Starbucks and Solis Ledoux, she goes to a couple of places that would be right out of your classic cozy. There's an art supply store down in Tower Grove that she loves a lot.
Yeah, and
That kind
is
of
that
thing.
based on a real place?
That that one I think is, but somebody asked me where it was, and I don't remember. Yeah, I think it's on Cherokee, but it might not exist anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, because when I
I
read
wandered
about it, I
into
thought I want to go there.
it might be made up. It might be a magical place that I stumbled into and doesn't really exist.
So
It
let
also,
me. No,
I'm sorry.
please continue.
I was just going to say it also allows, I think, in fiction in general, when you have a point of view character, especially first person, it's really helpful, or you get a lot of mileage out of a fish out of water feeling.
Hmm.
And if you're in a small town, you can only achieve that if like she's just moved to town or maybe just come back from college, something like that. And this, she's
Like
in
the
the same
Hallmark movies.
place.
I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where she runs into the handsome young man that she knew from grade school and he never got married. No, no, no. But so Nikki is in the city that she has always lived in. She's really never gone anywhere else. And yet, if she drives 10 minutes down the highway, all of a sudden she is in this foreign universe that's totally different than the world she's used to. And that's really helpful because she gets to be grounded and be around people she likes and have a support system in place. But you also get to explore a different universe.
Hmm. Hmm.
Have you ever read Ellery Queen? Because I, like you, I'm from New York and I like New York titles. So that's why I like Nero Wolfe and I like Ellery Queen. And like Nero Wolfe, the time frame for Ellery Queen goes from the 30s up to the 70s, I believe it is. And unlike Archie so much, Ellery Queen changes to meet the time frame. He goes from being more like Lord Peter to being more like a Raymond Chandler character. So I was
Mhm.
just wondering if you've ever read Ellery Queen, and you get that
I
same thing,
have.
same New York vibe. Yeah.
Yes. Not nearly as much as Rex Stout, but yes, love Ellery Queen too. He's the one that always, well, I don't know about always, but two chapters from the end, they'll interrupt the book and say, okay,
Yeah.
now you have all the information. Can you solve it?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
very fourth wall breaky and it's meta, and I love it so much.
So they did that on the TV show also.
Yeah.
Jim Hutton would look at the
Jim
camera.
Hutton.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Jim Hutton with his hat. I love that
And then
show.
Tim Hutton as Archie. It's a
There
nice
you go.
continuity, a nice homage, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Emily, when I asked you if you would join us to talk, you said you wanted to listen to our podcast or anything, but one of the things was it was to give you a chance to see, our style. But is there anything you wish that we would have asked you today? that you'd prepared to say, okay, this is what I want to make sure I get across.
So probably the last thing I want to say, just because you guys are so well read within mysteries. I know Joan and I were talking a lot about hard-boiled stuff, but How to Talk to Your Dog About Murder at Heart is an English country home murder. So it's set in Ladue, but it is 100% the classic, like all the friends of the social group have driven to this house out in the country and are staying for a long weekend, and then someone is murdered, and the butler didn't do it, but the local constabulary can't figure it out. And I had a ton of fun as I was going through thinking about the conventions of that structure and how they would fit in a contemporary and in an American setting. And so much fun.
That's
I'm looking
one of the
forward
ones
to
we
reading the
just,
rest of it.
what book did we just talk about, Joan, that we, oh, maybe it was the Red House murder, Red House mystery. What's it called?
Yeah, because the Red
'Cause we
House
talked
Mystery,
about,
because it was a cozy, English manor house.
and the weekend where they all, or
Everybody's
the
there
week they
for the
all get
weekend.
invited there. And we were all, that was
Yeah.
became part of our discussion was, does that even happen anymore? Or, it doesn't, but it creates something, but you have found a way to make that happen, which is very interesting. So thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, very interesting.
Absolutely. Something for Joan to watch out for as she reads it.
And the thing is, not every we don't live that lifestyle, Barb. At least I don't. I'm sure you don't either. But we don't live the great house mystery, great house lifestyle. So it's interesting to peel back the curtains and poke our heads in. And yes, I do love the more hard boiled stuff, but I also love the mystery stuff. And I go back and forth because I need a break from each. And I'm really
So
looking forward to this one.
when we talked about another book, I can't even remember which one we're now. Oh, it was when we talked about our very first episode and we did Murder on the Orient Express. One of the questions we asked ourselves was, could Miss Marple have solved that crime?
I loved that discussion, by the way. That was great.
Do you think there's like, would Sherlock Holmes or, would Miss Marple be part of this? Would she, let's use Miss Marple. Would Miss Marple be able to solve the crime that you had in the How to Talk to Your Dog About Murder?
100%. She would be way more natural at gossip with people than Nikki is. Nikki is so awkward. She doesn't want to strike up conversations with people. She is reluctant to do so, but she makes it work. Miss Marple would have probably moved into the guest room and,
For knitting.
she would know all the dirt on the family. Within the thing about Miss Marple, she's the one that seems to know from the beginning what all the undercurrents are, and then her questioning is confirming it. That's my impression from reading Miss Marple books, is that she understands the participants from the beginning as kind of archetypes, and then by asking questions, she's not so much discovering things as airing them for the reader.
Okay.
And so I feel like she would walk into this house and immediately be like, okay, you, and here's your deal. And she would know what everybody's got going on.
Well, the interesting thing is we never see the inner thoughts of Miss Marple, or I don't think we do. I don't remember them. Where Nikki, every uncomfortable conversation she has, I'm relating to. I relate to her thinking through, do I say that? Are they going to think that? How are they going to react when I ask? And at times I start getting uncomfortable because I relate a little too closely.
Well, that's an excellent point. I'm just assuming it came easily to Miss Marple. Maybe she was agonizing through every one of those conversations and just had a totally calm demeanor.
There you go.
Well, and she is just someone that people will talk to. And Nikki, being the dog walker, is the non-threatening person. So they just talk to her. Yeah.
Everybody talks to her, whether she wants them to or not. Yep.
Well, and I'm going to point out, Joan keeps saying to Emily, I hope you join our book club. we've actually given Emily an invitation to join our in-person book club. And because we know that she has a love of mysteries, and it just, we invite everyone. You don't feel that you're too special, Emily. No, it's just anytime we know someone enjoys some mysteries, we invite them because I don't know, it's just fun to share our joy with other people who enjoy what we do. So, Joan, did you have any more questions?
Probably a million, especially after I read the book. I will say regarding the in-person book club, you have to bring your own wine because we talk.
Not a
we don't
problem.
I'm just grateful that you came and you did this. It's really been a pleasure.
Well, after we all read the book, which I know that Jennifer has also said that she's started listening to it, and I think Christine said she's downloaded it too. After we all read it, we are probably going to be calling you back to actually discuss the book, but we didn't want to do anything yet where it gets into spoilers or anything with the book until we've read it. But I want to thank you so much for joining us. This was very last minute. I kind of, like you said, she'd said earlier, I pressured her. Come on, we got to get this done. But I was so excited about the book and so excited about talking to you about the process. And I'm going to close us out, but I want to remind everyone that we have a Facebook page and we have an Instagram page, and we want everyone to join us to listen. We drop our episodes twice a month. Usually it's talking about books, but we're going to have more of these kinds of discussions to throw out there every couple of months too, to just keep our love of the mysteries going. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much. It's been so much fun. I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
Thank you. Good talking to you.